My name is Paul Michaud, and I'm the CEO of Proceve. Today, I'm going to actually provide an overview of how we've structured accounts and the ways to handle it within Proceve software. For 99% of all companies and users, they're only going to ever need a single account. That being said, one of the things that we wanted to be able to do was support the largest enterprises and the most complex configurations that they might require. Imagine if you're IBM or Microsoft or Toyota, you're likely going to have divisions and users all over the world with different subsidiaries, etc. And in those cases, it may be necessary to build IBM US separate from IBM Canada, separate from IBM UK or IBM Japan. And we wanted to be able to deal with that case and handle it and keep people isolated. You may not want people in the US to access projects out of the UK or Japan and so on. And so we provide the control to do that. So despite the fact that most will have a single account, we actually allow for you to have different sub-accounts by department, by division, by subsidiary, or whatever way you choose to set them up. And yet we still recognize that they all belong to the broader IBM account, if that's the case. And those accounts can then have sub-accounts of their own, which can have more sub-accounts, and you can basically create as complex a structure of accounts as you need to fit your organization. In addition, along with those accounts, we also said, okay, well, there's different ways that you want it billed, right? Possibly you only want to get one bill at the top level that aggregates all of the different sub-accounts. We can support that. On the other hand, if you had separate billing for IBM Japan, IBM US, IBM UK, we can support that too. If within the UK you decide, hey, I need certain subdivisions and departments to be billed yet separately again, we can handle that. Or any other combination that you want, and all of this is possible in the configuration the way we've done the software. In addition, typically a user is going to be assigned to one account, okay? And it can be any one of the accounts. And one of the things to keep in mind is the security, the way it is set up, every account by default is completely isolated from all other accounts. So somebody in account department A will not be able to access anything from the account for department B unless it's explicitly enabled. By default, they will be fully isolated. Okay? And correspondingly, users that belong to any one account can't access anything from any other account unless they're explicitly given permissions on that. And despite the fact that the users are generally going to be assigned to one account, we've had a lot of cases in the past in our own experience where we needed people to access multiple accounts. So we actually support the ability for the same user to have access to multiple accounts with separate roles on each account, separate permissions on each account, and all of this is supported in our architecture. In addition, there is yet another use case that we've come across ourselves, typically in a consultative area, or if you work for a design agency, for example, this comes up a lot, and it comes up a little more when you're dealing with small business versus large. And that's the case where you need to collaborate with a client. And so what often happens is if you're working on a project and you need the client to be able to review requirements, or you need the client to approve things, or just to be able to provide status to the client, etc., and the easiest way is for them to access the software, then how do you do that? The client probably doesn't have permissions on your account domain, and you probably don't have permissions on theirs. And so what we wanted to do was have a mechanism to be able to allow them to access this. So what happens is, despite the fact that we allow one email address belongs to one user and is associated with one main account for logging in, we actually have the ability to provide permissions in the way we've designed our systems so that the client can actually provide access to the user to their version of Proceve software and their account with a lot of security controls, etc. So this is all supported in the way that we've designed the handling of accounts as well as the security and permissions. Now, despite the fact that all of this is supported by our servers and the software design right now, not all of this is exposed and available to the users through the user interface at this time, and especially as of this video, we're only in the beta program. So the server side actually supports all of this, but you actually can't access these complex configurations via the user interface. We expect that's going to change over the next couple of months, and you will be able to handle a lot more of the account stuff. That being said, we are not going to turn on the ability near term unless there's significant demand to be able to link across companies in the case for the consultative case that I mentioned last. So we expect that'll be one of the last things that we enable, and we'll only do that if there's significant demand. But the rest of the features should be available in the coming months as we move from a beta product into the general release.